Are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Awesome. So my name's Dr. Cordy Williams, hashtag Megaphone Marine, hashtag 1776 Forever Free. Welcome to the pre-Thanksgiving recall. And I don't know about you guys, but I loved all of those depictions, especially shout out to whoever the great patriots were protesting in front of Adolph Newsom's house. I'm sorry I missed it. I think we were getting back from Georgia or something like that. But I was definitely there in spirit. There's another good group that's doing some curfew protests. There's some of those going on this weekend. One's going to be at the USS Midway. I think it starts at 8. Speakers start at 9. And I don't know how long it's going to go. Who knows? Definitely past 10, I'm sure. But those are all over California. There's a guy named Russ heading that up. And I think it's called Curfew. Sorry, Russ, I can't remember the complete name of it. But you'll find it. It's all over social media. Those are going on for sure. There's rallies every weekend. Encourage you to get to those, not only for the state of California, but for the United States as a whole. And without any other further ado, Mr. Netter, go ahead, my friend.
Hello, welcome everybody, and thank goodness we have what we have in America here today. Tonight we're going to cover a lot of things in a short period of time. But one of the main themes of our show tonight is a reminder each of our guests as to why we're doing this on a serious note. We've got some stories on tonight, and I want everybody to remember it's more than just about the little jingles. It's more than just about the protests that we do, but we're recalling Gavin for a reason, and there's a core reason, and that's the stories that we're sharing tonight. I would like to make sure that all of you participating tonight do stay. We're going to have some announcements at the end of the show and some updates. And again, God bless everybody who's doing this, and it's important to hear our stories. Let's flip to you, Oren, for a Oren update, if you will. Oren, try to keep it under 30 minutes.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. I just want to let everybody out there know that, this is actually a fairly heavy subject matter for the night before Thanksgiving, but these people's stories that you're about to hear, some of them will give you cause to pause, to understand why we're doing this, and just how much you and we all have to be thankful for that, out there somebody always has it worse than we do. I think that we have a wonderful opportunity here with the recall movement to set some things right in California and to restore some sense of normalcy, some sense of justice in our state, because truly these folks that are about to speak, Dana, Kim, will illustrate just how much injustice, how much, no justice, no peace while Gavin Newsom is in office. Mike.
I think we're ready to introduce our guests. So I want to, at the end of the show, I'm going to cover a couple things, but let's cover something at the beginning here that's really important. That One America News video, One America News is a great partner of the recall. And for those of you that didn't hear today, they're trying to be stifled by YouTube a bit. So for the next videos that are coming out that we filmed today, and I ask us all the time to understand how important the stories that we're hearing tonight, how important this Gavin Newsom story is. The story that One America News put out on us, sit down for a second, got 433,000 views on YouTube between Friday and Monday. That's a lot of views, and that's some random people listening to what we're doing. So YouTube did what any good media company would do. They shut them off for about a week. So One America News still has a network and a video, but what we're going to ask to do is that you share this week's video all over the place. And it's really not just about One America News, it's to publicize what we need to do about the recall. Like I said, at the end, we'll have some announcements, and Oren, I think we're ready, want to go to guests. Cordy, do you want to add anything before we go to guests or do some of your fabulous introductions here?
Well, actually I was having some problems. Everybody was like freezing, when everybody has this emphatic pause and their head's like this or something. So that was happening. So I was kind of dealing with some internet issues. But I understand that you guys have some really amazing guests that have kind of been through some stuff of sorts, really intense stuff. I definitely don't want to steal your guys' thunder. Because I think the story of what they have and the details around the story would probably come better from you, Mr. Netter, but I certainly appreciate that. No, I don't have anything to add right now.
And I
Okay.
think, Mike, if we could start off with Dana, and then move to Kim, and then finish up with Akil. I think Akil is going to help us lighten the load a little bit as we go forward into the holiday weekend and so forth. And Akil, thank you so much for joining us on our town hall tonight.
Thank you so much, Warren. It was a bit of a shock to be invited, but hopefully I can bring some, like you just said, like some light towards going into Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. All right, Mike.
Okay. Why don't we start with Dina? Dina, tell us your story. Make sure you're unmuted there, and tell us the story of why you're here and your experience that you've had in probably 5 to 7 minutes, if you could.
And Dana is a citizen of Oregon, just so everybody knows, but her story reaches all the way down into my former stomping grounds, Yolo County. And she's going to help share that story with us right now.
Well, thank you. Can everybody hear me? I'm not very tech savvy, so.
We can hear you. We can see you, sweetheart. Thank you for joining us tonight. And, you have a powerful story. You and Kim, you have separate stories. They're very impactful, but what I want to share with the rest of the group that are here tonight is that you folks aren't alone. You speak for so many other people in our state who have been re-victimized.
Yes, that is completely true. Well, my story starts in 1998. My brother, we always called him Johnny because he has my father's name, but we chose to call him Johnny. And in 1998, he was 22 years old, and I was 23, 24, and he was murdered in February by an ex-girlfriend. He was giving her a ride to work because they worked together. She was his supervisor, and he told her, I can't continue to give you rides. This isn't working out. You're going to have to find somebody else. I'll give you the weekend to find somebody else to give you rides to work. And so he picked her up Friday morning. They got into an argument, and she pulls out a gun and forces him into the trunk of his own car. She drives around a while. He's most likely yelling, saying, "Hey, let me out of here." She pulls over, opens up the trunk, and shoots him in the stomach. She then drives. This starts in Tacoma, Washington, is where this started. And she then drives 750 miles south on I-5. Now, I-5 goes right through the town that Johnny was born and raised in, that most of his family, including myself, still live there. So it was a very long time for me to even drive a section of I-5 south without having some sort of panic attack, knowing that he traveled down this road in the trunk of his car, bleeding from a gunshot wound to his stomach the whole time. So she ends up 750 miles south and ends up in Davis, California. She goes to a Motel 6 and goes and rents a room for the night. He's still alive, and she is able to get him up to a second floor room, then duct tapes him to a chair there, duct tapes the curtains to the walls, make sure no one can look in, then goes down and rinse the room for a second night. Comes back and says, you know what, I'm going to go get help. But what does she do? She gets in the car and she starts speeding north back up I-5. She gets pulled over by a state trooper. Things look suspicious to him. He asks to search the vehicle. He finds her gun. He finds what to him looks like blood and a bullet hole in the trunk, and places her under arrest.
And this was an Oregon state trooper?
No, this was California.
Okay.
She was caught in California. So she eventually leads him to the Motel 6 there in Davis. And but unfortunately, by the time they get there, he has already been discovered by a maid, and he had passed.
So obviously she was tried and convicted
Yeah.
and sentenced here in California. Tell us
Yes,
a little bit about what happened. You know, what was her sentence? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
She was found guilty. Some of the charges were, of course, murder in the first, and kidnapping, and there was gun charges and that sort of thing. And she was sentenced to 84 years to life. So our family felt that meant a life sentence. There was no possibility that she would be getting out. So here we come to July of 2020, and amidst all this craziness of the pandemic, she has basically submitted to the courts that she basically wants an early release because there's threats to her health because of COVID, because she supposedly has a heart condition. So the CDC and Governor Newsom, in all of his wonderful knowledge, and decided, yes, she is to be released. And our family was only notified within days that she was going to be released. We weren't given any opportunity to protest this at all, to go before any kind of probation board or anything to dispute her being released. She served 19 years of her 84 years to life. She served less time than my brother was alive. So there are, I mean, I so feel strongly for the people of San Jose, which is where she was released to. They need to know that there is a killer walking amongst them. She has shown no remorse after all of these years. And our family is devastated. We are angry. We are dumbfounded that this would be allowed to happen. There are protocols in place for dealing with things like this in the prison, and why she was allowed to be released prior to some of the less violent offenders.
Right.
You know, why are we releasing murderers? And she's not the only one. She's not the only murderer that has been released.
She's not the only one. There was Santiago Cruz has been released, and you know, I believe, you know, Matthew Garcia, when he was released, he went on to kill his 2-month-old child, his son. It's you know, these are all people who were released under the emergency release provisions under Gavin Newsom. And, you know, this is just an example of why it's so important that we step in, we intervene as the people of our state, and regain control over this rogue governor and the legislature and stop the madness and secure a future that we can all live with here in California. You know, you have a very powerful story, and I'm so sorry that you're having to relive all of those old, memories, and dredge those back up as this
Yes,
happens again and again,
yes,
but we thank you for coming on our town hall tonight and sharing your
thank
story
you.
with us.
Thank you. It's very important to me that my brother's voice continues to be heard in this, that he is being re-victimized and our family is being re-victimized through all of this. And my family has started, I've started a Facebook page called No Justice for Johnny. And, it's very hard on families to constantly relive this just when you think you might be, moving along emotionally. This just has floored so many of us, and we are so disappointed in this governor.
And you are not alone. Like I said, there's many people. This governor has released 20,000 prisoners. He just pardoned 22 criminals, and these are illegal immigrant criminals who are here in our state unlawfully, and he didn't pardon them based on the merits of their actions or the merits of their case. He pardoned them for the sole purpose to maintain their immigrant status in our country. So thank you, Dana. God bless you. And
Thank you.
and we'll talk to you again.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And we have Kim with us. Kim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me and hear me?
Hi, sweetheart. Thank you for joining us with our town hall tonight. And you have, yet another story. They all have gravity, and it's incredible what this governor has done. Go ahead and share us a little bit about, why you're here tonight, what happened with your family, and what's going on in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to say, Dana, I'm truly sorry and heartbroken for your family as well. My story started back in 2014. My daughter was 16 years old at the time. We lived in Southport area of West Sacramento. She ended up coming up missing. She was missing for 3 months. And she just came home one day. She suddenly came home, told me kind of a story of what had happened, didn't really, understand her story, what was going on. About a month later, in July of 2014, I found out that she was being sex trafficked by 3 individuals. There's actually 5 altogether. 3 of them were subsequently arrested. It took me about 7 months to have them arrested. And during that time, it was a nightmare. They were picking her up from school. I mean, just horrible things. I actually had to get her back from Arthur McKellar. So in May of 2015, she actually ended up coming up missing again after they had arrested 2 people. They arrested 2 individuals in February of 2015, and one of them was 44 years old and he's HIV positive and had admitted to having unprotected sex with my 16-year-old daughter, him and his girlfriend. So in May of 2015, my daughter ended up coming up missing again, and she ended up with Arthur McKellar again. She was missing for 3 days at that point, and I called the police, drove over there, told them I'm driving over there. They said, don't park your car out front because your car is very, it's red. They're like, don't park your car out front. So I waited 45 minutes. They never showed up, never even dispatched the call. I blocked him in and got her back myself. So this kind of started a ball. I actually got her back. She was overdosing from methamphetamine. He tried to kill my daughter. I had her in my car and blocked her in, would not let her out of the car. My last call to the police department was for an ambulance because she was dying in my vehicle. Kind of fast forward, he ended up taking off to Idaho. They extradited him back from Idaho in October of 2015. And to stand charges of sex trafficking, contributing a controlled substance to a minor, and unlawful sexual acts with a minor, all with enhancements due to her age and his age. He was 34. So jump forward to, took me 3 years, along with Michelle Seraphin, who I know that you are aware of and know her well. We fought for 3 years it took us, and we finally sentenced them in April of 2017. Arthur McKellar received 16.8 years. Bill Locke received 22 years, and his girlfriend received 3.8 years. We thought, okay, a little bit of justification. Let's move on with their lives a little bit. They'll be away for a while. Come to last Thursday, I received a phone call from the Department of Corrections letting me know that he is going to be released on the 24th of this month, which was yesterday. Completely floored. My daughter's not doing well. She is in a mental hospital. We have had to have her conserved and committed due to the trauma that has happened to her. This was 6 years ago, and she's still suffering. She suffers every day. She does not know exactly what happened to her. She can't really talk about it. She did not know who I was for the longest time or who she was for the longest time. So for Governor Newsom to not even take into consideration what these criminals are doing and the impact it has on victims and survivors is unbelievable to me. So my fight right now is to absolutely get him out of office. Releasing these criminals, there's no advocacy for victims. There's no rights for victims. Again, re-victimizing all of us all over again.
Kim, didn't you say that he's not even reviewing the records of the people that he's doing an early release on?
Yeah, absolutely. So the parole officer, which he's being released in Auburn, which I don't know why, but the parole officer had stated that he's not reviewing anything. He's just, his words were willy-nilly pulling cases and just releasing these criminals back onto our streets.
So I'm curious. First of all, I just wanted to say to both of you, I'm so sorry, and our hearts go out to your family, because I can't even process that. I don't even know what that's like, and I'm sure everybody else on the panel and the viewers out there feel the same way. So our hearts go out to your family, and our prayers certainly do as well. As I kind of listen to your stories, thinking about the landscape of where our world's at right now, I'm sure it's got to be frustrating to you guys as Americans that you're victimized with this COVID thing, and you see other people being locked down and mistreated and abused and their civil rights being violated. And then here you have this idiot that's the leader of your state that isn't holding the people accountable that have actually done these grave, demonic, satanic like acts to the people you love and care about. And they're not being held accountable, but you're expected to live this unrealistic standard because of this invisible virus. How does that make you guys feel, kind of seeing that with everything that you guys have already dealt with?
For me, unbelievable. We're locked in our own homes. And again, my daughter's she's locked in a facility where she can't leave. Yet here's this criminal, I get to walk straight out of prison. He's set free while she's locked away. But not just that, like I said, we're locked in our homes. We're supposedly tomorrow not supposed to have family over. We're not supposed to spend any time with any of our loved ones. While he just did it, 2 weeks ago? He was out at the French Laundry. I'm not going to cuss on here, but darn well that he is not just sitting at home, not spending any time with his family tomorrow.
Where was
he
released to?
Unbelievable to me.
Kim, what county was he?
I'm sorry?
Released to? What county was?
He's being released to Placer County.
Auburn, right? And you're Nevada
Auburn.
County, so he's right downhill.
I'm in Grass Valley. Yeah, I'm in Grass Valley. So I had to file an injunction, which is a 1707 for him to be not be within 35 miles of myself or my daughter. Once my daughter's released, we do not know where she's going to be. I don't know if she's going into transitional, things like that. So I'm going to have to keep filing these injunctions on her behalf, which by law is another issue that I'm having, is because now she'll be 23 next Wednesday.
People want to know the full name of the offender.
His name is Arthur Lee McKellar. And his name is actually, I did a interview with Fox 40 last week. His picture's all over that.
Yes, and for mine as well, her name is Taribia Williams. And if you Google that name, or if you do the hashtag No Justice for Johnny page on Facebook, all of the interviews that I have given so far regarding her and the release are archived there. And, you know, obviously most of my family live in Oregon. We're dealing with our own idiot governor. And because it seems like whatever Gavin Newsom does, Kate Brown is sure to follow. And she also has been releasing prisoners as well, not to the extent that California has, but believe me, we're dealing with all that stuff right up here too.
They are absolutely operating off of the same playbook.
Yes.
So
yeah.
And in California, folks, just a little trivia for prison times. California's prison population has dropped below 100,000 inmates for the first time since the 90s. And, they're looking at closing some prisons down. Gavin Newsom has released over 20,000 prisoners, state prisoners, and he's closed many, many, many fire camps because a lot of those prisoners were on the CDC fire crew. So what you need to know is that during all of these fires over the summer, Gavin Newsom was releasing the prisoners who would go out with the CDC crews and fight those fires. So California was on fire. Gavin Newsom released the fire crews and closed the fire camps. So that's a resource that we won't get back anytime soon.
Nope.
I want to add something too here. For you in Oregon, for everybody out there that's collecting signatures, and we're going to do some announcements at the end of the show. Don't forget that Oregon's recall of Kate Brown fell short by about 2,700 signatures. And I really want to let that sink in for a second. Every time you go back and you feel tired or whatever, and you say, well, I only collected 35 today, or I've only collected 100, I went around. Remember, Oregon's recall just fell short about 3 months ago, I believe, by 2,700 signatures. Every signature, every petition, and everything that you do, that we all do as volunteers, counts. Okay, Oren, I think we're on to our next guest here.
Kim, Dana, thank you so much for joining us tonight. God bless you guys, and I wish you well.
Thank you
Akil,
so much.
welcome to the show.
Hey, Oren, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. So Akil and I just became acquainted with one another via phone call. He called me up. We struck up a conversation. I think that he has a powerful message, and he is able to put thoughts to a lot of words to a lot of people's thoughts. And appreciate you joining us tonight, man.
Oh man, thank you. As definitely was not on the agenda the couple of days I called you to find out how to sign a petition. That was a reason for our meeting, or how that meeting got started.
That's right. That's right. And you're from Oakland?
Yeah, so born and raised in Oakland, California. Proud Bay Area statesman. Love my city, love everything about the Bay Area, but especially Oakland. We've had our trials and tribulations. I was just thinking about things since Governor Newsom took office that has progressively gotten worse here in Oakland for sure. It's always been a city ridiculed with crime and violence, but homelessness has been just out of control. And that's a part of what when I'm looking to kind of get involved in myself is affordable housing, not only just for low income people, but homeless and veterans. My grandfather is a Navy vet, served in World War II. Unfortunately, I didn't, commit my service, but I think about veterans nowadays who have served in this country to fight for the freedoms that a lot of people take for granted, to be honest. And it's bothersome to me. So, I just want to be able to kind of share my thoughts and feelings of what's just been going on, not only in our state, but nationally, and how I got here, obviously. It's a bit of a story in itself. So, Oren, do you have any questions, or how should I start here?
We talked about your area and how some of the things that Gavin Newsom has done that it's affecting people on, from all walks of life, and people are coming to sign the petition from, across the board. We have lifelong Democrats who voted for him that are coming across the aisle to recall him because they're upset with certain things that he's doing. Of course, there's a cultural aspect to what he's doing and how it affects people throughout the cities and things like that as well.
But yeah, and I can hit on a couple of those things. Just being from Oakland, obviously in the Black community here, it was my experience since I've been, raised here in California, is that we only vote a certain way, and that's been true for majority of my life. I'm gonna be honest, and so I really never was able to kind of think about politics in a way until I started to get a little older. I'm only 38 now. So no, I guess in the last 5 years, I've been a little bit more, I've paid attention more. It's in 2008 when Obama became president, it was just, for a lot of us, we were excited, it was a Black president that we could identify with, but my mom said it's the best. And I love her. We've argued so much, but she said, he was disappointing. And, I took it for a granted salt at that time, but now that I see what's really going on, politicians can be bought and paid for. And there's someone in the Bay Area that is running for, vice president right now. And I mean, some of the things that I think she's gotten away with here in the Bay Area. I'll give you a quick story that most people don't know about. So I, born and raised in Oakland here, and I worked in this Oakland Unified School District, and that truancy program that Kamala Harris presented to us. Now, I was obviously a little younger, definitely didn't know what was going on, but as I researched and I saw with my own eyes, people being arrested for the program. Basically, if you were bringing your kids to school late, or if they were consistently missing school. Now, here in Oakland and everywhere, I mean, there's tons of reasons why kids can't go to school. And I just felt like it was one of the many ways to continue to just bring certain type of crimes against minorities, you know what I mean? Because majority of those people were Black and brown, and you really never know. So I don't think that was the answer to get parents to bring their kids to school. Some people have to work 2 jobs. People don't have cars. Transportation here in the Bay Area is ridiculously slow. There could be all types of reasons why kids can't go to school, but there's certain type of policies that just affect minorities and poor people a little bit more. And these lockdowns, from what I've seen, have closed businesses, and a lot of these businesses have been Black and brown businesses. And Oakland has been a really interesting place when it comes to small businesses. I mean, we for a long time we didn't have a big box, Target or Walmart or anything like that. So a lot of people relied on small shops, mom and pop shops, to get their everyday stuff. And what you see though is those businesses are being closed down, and in the poor neighborhoods. And now you still see the the larger, Targets and the Walmarts open. So, it's sad, and I know we want to protect each other. I felt we were doing a great job. California was doing a great job. I mean, that's what the media, was saying. For once, I felt like that was the truth, and all of a sudden we go back into this, second lockdown. Now, we all anticipated those who pay attention to other outside media. I just got wind of OAN and some of the other news networks out there because I can't watch the news anymore. It's just, this media, it's so, I called this whole pandemic a literally psychological warfare from the beginning. I just knew that this was going to, the fear that they're going to project at people was going to be worse than the crisis itself. And that's scary, because you have a lot of people who are still very fearful of just being around friends and family, So, that's my really testament to this. Now, when it comes to how I kind of arrived here, I'll give you guys a quick story. I went to a school in Berkeley, California that was predominantly African-American. And when I was there, we used to have every year, like elections, you know what I mean? And they were trying to get kids to, just become aware of how elections work. And so we will always pick, the president of the United States. And I remember really one year being kind of like just driven down the road a little bit, if I could say that, and how we really wasn't a choice. We didn't really hear both sides of the story, if you would say. So coming up, we always just voted a certain way. And that really, for me, when I started to listen to conservative news a little bit more, I was troubled. And the one thing that I say this is always my bottom line, is children. Anybody who messes with children, in my mind, there's nothing that I can really agree with you on. There's nothing else. You know what I mean? That's it. If you start, I have 4 children. I'm a father here, father married, and all my children, me and my wife have, been together for 12 years now. So, I take anything personally when children are attacked, whether they're minors, anything. And so that's my bottom line. And any politician, any president, anybody who goes against the protection of our children, that's just kind of my cutoff. And so I feel very angry when children are attacked. My children have been doing pretty well in which is the stuff called virtual school, Zoom school, they call it. But, not every family has a supportive family like me and my wife have. You know what I mean? So there was just some information that came out today that said that 83%, I should have wrote this down, or I swear, kids are just failing. The level of F grades that are going up during this whole cycle is just getting so bad. And
the kids are taken out of their routine, and
exactly.
that's something that children depend on boundaries. The schools help set some of those boundaries. Parents set boundaries, and there's been an agenda to erase the family nucleus in the Black community for a long time. Right? I mean, we agree on that, right?
Absolutely. No, I mean, that was one of the things that someone asked me, if I supported Black Lives Matter, and I was like, we talked about this, Oren, that, Black Lives Matter started off with a pretty, I agreed initially, but as I started to delve a little bit deeper, and obviously when the riots and things started, it became something that I didn't really want to be a part of. There's a founding, and excuse me if I'm get this one messed up, Oren. There's that founding quote that they say that they want to disseminate the family, the nucleus of the family, and that's typically Black men, right? And we know that in this country, if Black men aren't a part of their families, then children are most likely to, fall into poverty in some cases. They're more likely to not do well in school. So my my being, you know, a part of my children's life, you know, and keeping our family together and on the, you know, rise, and me being a business owner and all the things that, I mean, they see someone who is not who they see down the street, because down the street right from where I live are guys who are killing each other. Trust me, you know, crime here in Oakland has not gotten better. I'm gonna tell you,
No.
everybody on it's
The statistics might say different, but they're reporting it differently these days.
yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And you know, I think that you know, the father figure in the home has been watered down and eroded away in a lot of different communities, not just the Black community, but all across the board. You know, the family nucleus has been under attack for a long time, and you know, this administration is just perpetuating that. And Gavin Newsom just signed, you know, AB 145, which basically takes away, you know, some of the punishment, or some of the decriminalizes pedophilia in a lot of ways. So, you know, reduces the person's requirement to register as an offender, et cetera, et cetera. So the children are under attack here, because, you know, they know that if they eliminate the traditions that we all hold near and dear, then, you know, they can take over the narrative from that point.
I agree. And AB 145 was something I didn't know. And again, I think that goes back to just how misinformed a lot of people are, right, in this country about several topics. I mean, one definitely being AB 145. It's the media has to do a better job of keeping us informed, allowing us freedom of choice, which I think is being threatened at this very moment, and freedom of speech. You know, I mean, if we only hear one side of the story, then we never know. We can never really predict the ending. We don't know what's going on, and it's kind of like actually what happened in Pennsylvania today. I don't know if anyone saw those hearings, but I guess the governor there had made some decisions that really kind of kept a lot of the state legislature out in the dark. And I feel like that's the same thing that's happening here in California. It's probably the same thing that's happening in most states. And that's a problem. I think that's legislature that needs to be developed and protect the rights of the people. And I am for 100% for the success of this country, with the people that has gotten this country to where we have gotten to today. Excuse me if I'm becoming a little emotional, because, you know, our ancestors have fought for my ancestors, or your ancestors have fought to where we got to. And if we lose our freedoms, then we're no better than, you know, any third world country that people come here to migrate to leave communism and socialism the way it's been presented to them, and that is under threat. And I don't agree with it. I know a lot of people who I am friends and family with wouldn't agree with me even being on this show right now, but I can't sit down and accept that this is happening anymore.
And I totally appreciate that, and thank you so much for taking the stand and coming on, talking with us today. I know it's not easy to do, and you know, there's a lot of conflict within certain communities, and you know, we have a large Asian population that is pro what we're doing with the recall and so forth, and you know, I just think that there are some of the cultures that have been underrepresented in politics, and I think that the Black culture, you know, your voice needs to be heard loud and clear, and it's going to take a lot of strong people to stand up and make that claim and take that stance. And
Mm-hmm.
You're one of them. And thank you for coming aboard and helping us, with this recall and move forward to get this done, because we need representatives across the board in every community, in every culture, in the Latin culture, the Asian culture, the Black culture, the white culture, the LGBTQ community. You know, everybody's coming across the aisle. They're coming into the common cause. There's nothing in the state's history that has galvanized people across party lines, across, you know, social economical barriers, across social barriers, that has come other than this movement. You know, everybody has something that he's done that has affected people in a negative way. And this recall is giving people the opportunity to regain control of the state that we're in and to put a stop to this madness. And again, I'm going to say it, secure a future in California that we can all live with.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree. Thank you so much.
Akil. God bless you. And thank you
you
for coming on tonight, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, so kind of to wrap it up a little bit tonight, I think you can see why we're all fighting here. And I know everybody wants to know about the signature count, and because it's a little bit of a holiday week, we don't have an exact count for you. But I want to give you some quick updates here to kind of wrap this up. One, thanks to some generous donations, we started running some radio ads this week. We've seen an influx of mail. And before I announce, I'm going to make a special announcement and give some shout outs here. I want to tell you this. We have a lot to be thankful for, and I can think you see why we all need to keep fighting. And just yesterday, the West Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce gave us their official endorsement. So when you talk about all kinds of people, also the Iranian community there is giving us their endorsement. Because of that, we are now going to get even more support in literally central Los Angeles. All right. What that means exactly, please, LA team, when you listen to this, get back to me. We have a lot of materials and a lot of work to do there. But on a different note, our main keeper of the count, if you will, Robin and Susan and Christine, gave us this last night. And I want to do some shout outs here. We have a lot of work to do and a long way to go. And remember, we don't need 12% in each county, but we set some goals originally, and 15 counties out of 58 have met their goals so far that we set up, which is kind of artificial. I'm going to call them out, and if I mispronounce the name of the county, sorry about that, but I'm not very good at names. Colusa has beaten their 12%. Fresno beaten their 12%. Glenn beaten their 12%. Kings beaten their 12%. Lassen beaten their 12%. Nevada County, go baby, beaten their 12%. Placer beaten their 12%. Riverside, Epic, one of the largest populations, they've got over 12% and they're still going strong. Shasta, way beating their 12%. Sierra kicked butt on their 12%. I'm going to try to pronounce Siskiyou, can't pronounce it, but they beat their 12%. Tehama beat their 12%. Tulane beat their 12%. Help me out with
Tulare.
Well, help me with the next one. Tuolumne. Tuolumne. Hey, that's Southern California, guys. What do you want?
Hey, what do you know, huh?
What do you know, right? Beat their 12%. Yuba beat their 12%. That's 15 so far that have done it. So in this journey, I've always said it's a long journey, and you can see tonight why we have to do this fight. We have a lot to be thankful for, and be thankful for every step as we go along the way. We are finally we need more donations. Obviously, I'm not here to beg for them on Thanksgiving, but I'm going to tell you this. We're running some radio ads. We're doing some other magical stuff. Today alone, we sent out probably close to 2.5 million emails. You heard correctly, that are going to help bring in more signatures. So your recall team, which includes all of you here and all of you watching on Facebook, are doing everything we can. God bless you all who gave us your stories tonight. We all have a lot to be thankful. This is a true American holiday. And remember, it's not only time we took back America, let's take back California. We are recall strong. Thank you very much, and good night.
If I can just add something, we need volunteers. We need boots on the ground. If you have some time to get out there, set up a signing table, email me, susan.recallgavin2020 robin@gmail.com or robin.recallgavin2020@gmail.com. We need boots on the ground. We need people to get out there and help us get these signatures. We're halfway there.
So I think you have the answer to the question tonight. We do need volunteers. That's what publicity is all about. Again, it's more than just signing. Participating is volunteering. Participating is donating anything you can. Participation too is going out. And this Thanksgiving, and I forgot to add this, remember, as you see people you haven't seen for a while at your funeral for a turkey, Gavin wants you to write down their names. Remember that their names do need to be written down on a recallgavin2020.com petition. Looking forward to talking to you next week. Go Recall.
I was going to say,
recallgavin2020.com.
guys, real quickly, it's called, what's it called? I just saw it, Curfew Breakers. So fall curfew breakers, that's a great place to get signatures. So just all your signatures, all your sheets, come out there. Some of you that are setting up tables, you can go Alan Hostetler. Alan, if I pronounced your last name wrong, I apologize. And Russ, can't remember Russ's last name.
Taylor.
Is that what it is? Russ's last name? Okay, cool. But set up tables there. That'd be a great spot. I know they're getting between 200 to 500 people at some of their rallies. So that'd be an awesome place to get signatures. OAN is banned on Twitter, and there weren't really any questions tonight, just so everybody knows that I saw that were like, that couldn't be answered or weren't answered. That's all I got.
We have a lot to do, my friends, but in the meantime, tomorrow, Robin, you want to say something?
Gotta unmute, babe.
Robin, you're muted.
Robin, you gotta unmute, sweetheart.
Sorry. Someone asked a question about how do they view an OAN video. You can go to YouTube and type in OAN and you can find those videos. That's one spot. And just to remind everyone, I talked with the person verifying our signatures. And if you do have the signature at your Thanksgiving, be sure you fill out this bottom section. That's one of the reasons signatures don't count. So you are the circulator. Just a little reminder there.
Now, if you can't get out to sign the petition, download it from our website, recallgavin2020.com. There's also a link on our website where you can donate and petition instructions as well, along with all the many reasons why Newsom needs to be recalled.
That's all, folks.
Yeah, I think all right.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving. God bless.
God bless y'all.
Night.